The gleaming hull of Vox Ultima Station loomed against the backdrop of distant stars, its massive superstructure rotating slowly to maintain artificial gravity for the dozens of species that called it home. Maya Trent stared out the viewport of her diplomatic shuttle, taking in the imposing sight. Even after months of preparation, the scale of the station, the central hub of the Deathworld Alliance, still took her breath away. "Ambassador Trent," the shuttle pilot called over the intercom. "We've been granted docking clearance. Prepare for final approach." Maya nodded, though the pilot couldn't see her. Her hands unconsciously smoothed the front of her formal diplomatic uniform, its deep blue fabric and gold earth insignia, representing humanity's commitment to peace. The container behind her, covered in an opaque shroud, gave a subtle rumble. "Not yet," she whispered, placing a gentle hand on the container. "Just a little longer." The shuttle eased into one of Vox Ultima's countless docking bays, mechanical arms extending to secure it in place. Maya took a deep breath, centering herself. This mission represented a century of careful diplomacy, since Earth had joined the Interstellar Federation and signed the peace treaty with the Deathworld Alliance. The Alliance, comprised of 27 species who had evolved on the most dangerous and inhospitable planets in known space, remained suspicious of humanity, despite the peace treaty. Their previous experience with other civilizations had taught them caution, bordering on paranoia. Maya knew all too well why Earth had chosen her for this mission. At 35, she was young for an ambassador but had distinguished herself through her ability to navigate complex cultural minefields. That, and her background in xenobiology, made her uniquely qualified to deliver this particular gift. As the shuttle's ramp descended, a delegation of Alliance representatives waited. Their biosuits glowed with the distinctive colors of their species: crimson for the insectoid Vesh, blue-green for the crystalline Quarrel, amber for the reptilian Drex. The transparent chest panels of their suits revealed their distinctive breathing apparatus, each customized for their specific biology. At the front stood Aljar, the conference coordinator, his humanoid form encased in a sleek gray biosuit, with silver accents marking his neutral diplomatic status. "Ambassador Trent," Aljar's voice came through his suit's translator with a metallic timbre. "The Alliance welcomes Earth's representative. I trust your journey was uneventful." Maya bowed slightly, the formal greeting practiced countless times. "Conference coordinator, I bring greetings from Earth and gratitude for this opportunity to strengthen our alliance." Aljar's face mask revealed little emotion, but his tone carried a hint of curiosity. "We are intrigued by Earth's proposal of a living gift. Such offerings are uncommon in our diplomatic traditions." "That is precisely why we chose it," Maya smiled. "To demonstrate our respect for life in all its forms, a value we believe we share with the Alliance." Behind her, two human assistants carefully maneuvered the shrouded container onto a hovering transport platform. The container shifted slightly, causing one assistant to steady it with a concerned glance toward Maya. "The ceremony will begin in 3 standard hours," Aljar stated. "Your quarters have been prepared according to human biological requirements. I suggest you use this time to rest and prepare." Maya nodded gratefully. "Thank you, Coordinator. I look forward to the ceremony." As the Alliance delegation departed, Maya turned to her assistants. "Take it to the preparation chamber. I'll be there shortly." Once alone in her assigned quarters, Maya activated her secure communication device. The holographic image of Fleet Admiral Harrison, Earth's highest-ranking military official and her direct superior for this mission, appeared before her. "Ambassador." Harrison's stern face showed the strain of recent weeks. "Status report. We've arrived safely. The gift is stable, for now. The ceremony is scheduled in 3 hours." Harrison's expression tightened. "You understand the stakes, Trent. This isn't just about diplomacy anymore. The military council is concerned about recent Alliance fleet movements near our outer colonies. Maya frowned. With respect, Admiral, I was assured this mission was purely diplomatic, a gesture of goodwill. It is, Harrison replied too quickly. But every diplomatic gesture has strategic implications. The Alliance needs to understand that Earth isn't just another soft civilization they can intimidate. This gift demonstrates our understanding of survival, of evolution in harsh environments. It speaks their language. Maya's discomfort grew. The Tinbank was chosen because it symbolizes adaptability and resilience, not as some kind of threat display. Of course, Harrison's tone softened marginally. Just remember that the Alliance respects strength. Don't show weakness, even if things become complicated. The communication ended, leaving Maya with a sense of unease. She'd been in diplomatic service long enough to recognize when she wasn't being told everything. Still, her mission parameters were clear: present the gift, establish stronger relations, return home. Simple enough in theory. 3 hours later, Maya stood at the entrance to the grand conference hall of Vox Ultima Station. Her heartbeat quickened as the massive doors slid open, revealing a circular chamber with rising tiers of seating occupied by Alliance representatives. The center of the room featured a raised platform, currently empty, surrounded by a transparent barrier. Above, a massive dome of reinforced glass revealed the star-filled expanse of space, creating the illusion that the proceedings were being held in the void itself. The container, still shrouded, waited on a hovering platform beside her. Maya could feel the subtle vibrations from within, stronger now than before. The Tinbank was awakening from its sedated state, right on schedule. Conference coordinator. Aljar's voice echoed through the chamber. Representatives of the Deathworld Alliance, we gather to receive a formal offering from Earth, a gesture intended to strengthen our mutual understanding and cooperation. Maya stepped forward, the platform with the container following automatically. The eyes of hundreds of Alliance representatives focused on her, their chest panels pulsing with colors that Maya knew signified various emotional states: curiosity, skepticism, anticipation. Honorable representatives of the Deathworld Alliance, Maya began, her voice steady despite her nerves. For a century, Earth has stood alongside you in peace. Today, we offer a living symbol of our shared values: strength, resilience, and adaptation. She approached the container, hand hovering over the control panel that would remove the shroud. From the harshest regions of Earth's volcanic belts, we bring you a creature that embodies the spirit of survival against all odds. With a deliberate motion, Maya activated the panel. The shroud retracted, revealing a transparent enclosure containing what appeared to be a hybrid between a dinosaur and a mineral formation. Its body, roughly the size of a large earth dog, gleamed with crystalline outgrowths protruding from scaled skin. Eyes like polished obsidian blinked slowly, taking in the surroundings. The Tinbank, Maya announced, a species that evolved in Earth's most extreme environments. It can survive temperatures from near absolute zero to volcanic heat, withstand radiation levels fatal to most life forms, and adapt to almost any atmospheric composition. A murmur rippled through the assembly. Maya continued. Its crystalline formations are not merely decorative. They store energy from its surroundings, allowing it to survive without food for years if necessary. Earth offers this remarkable creature as a living embassy, a bridge between our worlds. Maya moved to open the enclosure's front panel, activating the program sequence that would release the Tinbank onto the central platform. As the panel slid open, the creature hesitated, then stepped cautiously onto the platform. For a moment, everything proceeded as planned. The Tinbank moved to the center of the platform, its crystalline structures catching the light from above, sending prismatic reflections dancing across the chamber. Then it happened. The tin bonk raised its head, its chest expanding, and emitted a sound that defied description, not merely loud, but somehow penetrating, bypassing the ears and resonating directly in the brain. The screech contained harmonics that seemed to vibrate at the frequency of consciousness itself. Maya staggered backward, hands instinctively covering her ears, though it did nothing to block the sound. Around the chamber, Alliance representatives reacted with varying degrees of distress. Some collapsed in their seats. Others began making erratic movements, their chest panels flashing chaotic patterns of color. The transparent barrier around the platform, designed to contain the tin bonk physically, did nothing to dampen its cry. As the sound finally subsided, Maya looked up to see conference coordinator Al-Jar approaching rapidly, his normally measured movements now urgent. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded, voice modulator barely containing his alarm. "This creature, it is a weapon." Maya shook her head, still disoriented. "No, I don't understand. The tin bonk's vocalizations were thoroughly studied. Nothing in our research indicated—" "Ambassador," Al-Jar cut her off. "That sound affected the neural patterns of 17 different species simultaneously. Such capability cannot be accidental." Around them, the conference hall had erupted into chaos. Security personnel rushed in, some attending to affected representatives, while others formed a perimeter around the platform where the tin bonk now stood motionless, as if nothing had happened. Among the Alliance delegation, one figure pushed forward, a tall, angular being whose crimson chest panel pulsed intensely. Maya recognized the distinctive markings of Veshkor, a senior member of the Alliance's Purity Council, known for his hardline stance against outside civilizations. "This confirms everything!" Veshkor's translated voice boomed across the chamber. "Earth sends us a biological weapon disguised as a gift. This is an act of war." Maya felt the diplomatic situation unraveling before her eyes. "Please, listen. We had no idea the tin bonk could produce such effects. Its vocalizations on Earth never—" "Because Earth's atmosphere and your biological makeup differ from ours," interrupted a new voice. A slender figure with a blue-green chest panel approached, a Quarrel scientist, judging by the insignia on their biosuit. "The harmonics that are merely uncomfortable to humans could be devastating to our neural structures." The tin bonk shifted on its platform, and the entire room tensed. Maya saw her mission, her career, and possibly Earth's peace with the Alliance, all hanging in the balance. "I propose an immediate containment protocol," Maya said firmly. "Allow me to assemble a team, Alliance and Earth specialists working together, to understand what happened and how to prevent it." Al-Jar's face mask revealed nothing, but after a moment, he nodded. "You have 24 standard hours, Ambassador. After that, the Purity Council will vote on whether to classify this creature as a biological hazard, requiring immediate termination." Veshkor made a sharp gesture of protest, but Al-Jar raised a hand. "The decision is made. Security, escort the tin bonk to Isolation Chamber 3. Ambassador Trent, you will remain under observation until this matter is resolved." As guards surrounded the platform and began carefully maneuvering the now docile tin bonk away, Maya caught the creature's obsidian eye. For a moment, she could have sworn she saw not aggression or fear, but confusion, as if the tin bonk itself didn't understand what had happened. Maya spent the next hour in her quarters, frantically reviewing all the research data on the tin bonk. Nothing in the extensive files prepared by Earth's Xenobiology Department mentioned the potential for its vocalizations to affect neural patterns across species. Either they had missed something fundamental, or the unique environment of Vox Ultima had triggered an unprecedented response in the creature. A chime at her door interrupted her thoughts. She opened it to find Al-Jar, accompanied by 3 figures: a human woman with East Asian features wearing an engineer's uniform, a tall, willowy alien with translucent skin that revealed pulsing internal organs, and a stocky, hunched being, whose metallic exoskeleton clicked softly with each movement. "Ambassador Trent," Aljar said. "I've assembled the specialist you requested. This is Aiko Tanaka, acoustic engineer from the Cylon solar system." The human woman nodded politely. "Ambassador." "Trelx Vur, Deathworld psychological specialist," Aljar continued, indicating the translucent being, who made a flowing gesture with long, delicate fingers. "And Civ Core, mineral biology specialist," he finished, as the metallic being clicked its mandibles in greeting. Maya gestured them inside. "Thank you all for coming. I assume you've been briefed on the situation?" "We witnessed it firsthand." Trelix Vur's voice was melodic, transmitted directly through subtle vibrations in the air, rather than a mechanical translator. "I was monitoring the psychological responses of the delegates. The sound created patterns I've never seen before, almost like a mass psychic event." Aiko moved to Maya's console, quickly scanning the Tinbonk data. "The harmonic structure is fascinating. It's not just the audible frequencies, but subsonic and ultrasonic components creating a complex waveform. The creature's crystalline structures," Civ Core added. Their voice a rhythmic clicking, translated by their exoskeleton's communication system. "They appear to be natural amplifiers and resonators. I've seen similar formations in species from high-pressure environments, but never this sophisticated." Maya felt a flicker of hope. "So you believe this is a natural phenomenon, not a designed weapon?" Trelx made a gesture that Maya interpreted as cautious agreement. "Natural, yes, but that doesn't make it less dangerous. Many of the deadliest abilities in the galaxy evolved naturally on Deathworlds." "We need to examine the Tinbonk directly," Aiko said. "If I can record and analyze its vocalizations under controlled conditions, I might be able to design a dampening system." Aljar, who had remained silent until now, spoke up. "I can authorize access to the isolation chamber, but security protocols require multiple safeguards, and the Purity Council has assigned observers." Maya nodded grimly. "Let's get started. We have less than 23 hours before they vote to kill it." The isolation chamber was located in a remote section of Vox Ultima, separated from the main habitation areas by multiple security barriers. As they approached, Maya noticed the increased presence of Alliance security forces, their weapons prominently displayed. Inside an observation room adjacent to the chamber, several monitors displayed the Tinbonk from different angles. The creature moved restlessly within its containment field, occasionally pawing at the invisible barrier. "It appears agitated," Trelx observed, moving closer to the monitors. The neural patterns show stress responses similar to those seen in captive predators. Aiko had already begun setting up her equipment, an array of sensitive acoustic sensors and analyzers. "I'm establishing a baseline of its normal vocalizations. If we can identify the trigger for that specific screech, we might be able to prevent it." "Ambassador Trent," Civ Core clicked softly. "I require samples of the crystalline structures to analyze their resonance properties. However, that would mean physical contact with the specimen." Maya frowned. "Is there no way to scan them remotely?" "Not with sufficient accuracy." Civ's mandibles clicked in frustration. "The internal lattice structure is key to understanding how they amplify sound." Before Maya could respond, the door to the observation room slid open, revealing Veshkor and two other Purity Council members. Their biosuits' chest panels pulsed with deep crimson. Anger, Maya had learned, or perhaps aggressive determination. "We are here to observe," Veshkor announced, making it clear this was not a request. "The Council requires first-hand information before voting." Maya nodded stiffly. "Of course. We welcome your input, Counselor." Veshkor moved to the observation window, staring at the Tinbonk with what Maya could only interpret as contempt. "This creature has already injured 17 representatives. Some are still in medical recovery, experiencing neural disruptions. "We're working to understand and prevent further incidents," Maya assured him, though she could feel the tension in the room rising. Aiko looked up from her equipment. "I'm ready to begin initial sound tests. I'll start with low-amplitude frequencies to see how the Tinbonk responds." Everyone watched as Aiko activated her system. A soft, barely audible tone filled the isolation chamber. The Tinbonk tilted its head, clearly perceiving the sound, but showed no signs of distress. "Increasing frequency gradually," Aiko narrated, adjusting controls on her console. As the tone shifted higher, the Tinbonk became more alert, its obsidian eyes focusing on the source of the sound. Still, it remained calm. "Moving to complex harmonic patterns," Aiko continued. The single tone became a chord, then a shifting pattern of harmonics that reminded Maya of Earth's whale songs. The Tinbonk moved closer to the barrier, its crystalline protrusions beginning to gleam more brightly. "Interesting," Trelks murmured. "Its neural activity is increasing, but not in a stress pattern. This appears to be communication behavior." "Amplifying slightly," Aiko said, carefully adjusting a dial. The harmonics grew louder, more complex. The Tinbonk's chest expanded. "Wait," Maya began, suddenly alarmed. Too late. The Tinbonk responded with a vocalization of its own, not the devastating screech from the conference hall, but something similar in structure, though lower in volume. Even so, the effect was immediate and disorienting. Maya felt a wave of dizziness. Beside her, Trelks swayed, their translucent skin flushing with pulses of blue light. Veshkor and his companions staggered back, their chest panels flashing erratically. "Cutting audio!" Aiko shouted, quickly deactivating her system. The sound stopped, but the Tinbonk continued to stare at them through the barrier, its obsidian eyes reflecting their own images back at them. "This is unconscionable," Veshkor recovered first, his translator failing to fully mask his fury. "Even at reduced volume, the creature's vocalization is dangerous." Sivkor, seemingly less affected than the others, moved closer to the observation window. The crystalline structures, they changed configuration before it vocalized. They're not just amplifiers, they're tuning mechanisms. Trelks, still visibly disoriented, placed a long finger against the glass. "I sensed. It was not aggression. It was responding to what it perceived as communication." Maya seized on this. "Then it's not a weapon. It's trying to communicate in the only way it knows how." "That is irrelevant," Veshkor snapped. "Whether it intends harm or not, it causes harm. The Council will not permit such a danger to remain on this station." "Give us more time," Maya pleaded. "If it's communication, we can find a way to translate, to control the harmful frequencies." Aljar, who had remained silent during the test, finally spoke. "I propose a compromise. We will construct a specialized acoustic isolation chamber, one that can contain the Tinbonk's vocalizations completely, while allowing your team to continue studying it safely." Veshkor made a sharp gesture of disapproval, but did not openly contradict the coordinator. "The Council's vote proceeds as scheduled. You have until then to prove this creature can be safely contained." After they left, Maya turned to her team. "We need to work fast. Aiko, can you design an isolation chamber that would satisfy their concerns?" The acoustic engineer nodded thoughtfully. "It's possible. We'd need to create a multi-layered dampening system, physical barriers with phase cancellation technology, plus neural dampening fields to block any frequencies that might slip through." "I'll assist with the neural components," Trelks offered. "My people have experience with psychic shielding that might be adaptable. And I can help optimize the physical structure based on the resonance patterns," Siv added. Maya felt a glimmer of hope. "Then, let's get started. We have less than 20 hours to save the Tinbonk, and possibly Earth's relationship with the Alliance." The next several hours passed in a blur of activity. Using one of Vox Ultima's fabrication facilities, Aiko directed the construction of the specialized acoustic chamber, integrating Trellix's neural dampening designs and Civ's resonance-disrupting materials. Maya coordinated with station personnel, requisitioning the necessary resources while trying to manage the growing political tension. Reports from the medical bay indicated that most affected representatives were recovering, but a few continued to experience neural disruptions, particularly those species with crystalline components in their own biology, suggesting some kind of resonance effect. As the deadline approached, Maya received an urgent communication from Admiral Harrison. "The situation has escalated, Ambassador." Harrison's holographic image looked grim. "Alliance vessels have changed position near our Proxima colony. Intelligence suggests they're preparing for possible hostile action." Maya felt a chill. "They wouldn't attack over this. That would violate the treaty." "Unless they believe we already violated it by sending a biological weapon," Harrison countered. "The military council is pressuring me to position our own fleet as a precautionary measure." "That would only confirm their suspicions," Maya argued. "We need to de-escalate. My team is close to a solution that will contain the Tinbonk safely." Harrison's expression hardened. "You have until the council's vote. After that, Earth will take whatever measures necessary to protect its interests." The communication ended, leaving Maya with an even greater sense of urgency. What had begun as a diplomatic mission now teetered on the edge of interstellar conflict. Returning to the fabrication facility, she found Aiko making final adjustments to the acoustic chamber, a hexagonal structure with multiple layers of specialized materials and a complex array of phase cancellation emitters. "Will it work?" Maya asked, not bothering to hide her concern. Aiko looked up, fatigue evident in her eyes. "In theory, yes. We've designed it to contain frequencies across the entire spectrum, including those we can't perceive, but might affect neural patterns. The neural dampening field is calibrated to the patterns we recorded during the incident," Trellix added, their translucent form glowing softly with internal light that Maya had come to recognize as a sign of focused concentration. "And I've incorporated mineral structures that should disrupt the crystalline resonance." Civ clicked, manipulating a holographic display showing the chamber's internal composition. Maya nodded gratefully. "How soon can we move the Tinbonk?" "The chamber is ready," Aiko replied. "But there's one problem. We need to transport the Tinbonk from its current isolation to this new chamber. During that transition, it will be minimally contained. Which means if it vocalizes during transfer, we could have another incident," Maya concluded grimly. "Worse," Trellix said softly. "The Purity Council has observers monitoring the current isolation chamber. They will surely be present for any transfer." Maya considered their options. The Purity Council vote was only hours away. If they waited, the vote would almost certainly go against them. If they attempted the transfer and something went wrong, it would confirm the Council's worst fears. "We proceed with the transfer," she decided finally. "But we need to sedate the Tinbonk first to minimize the risk." Civ's mandibles clicked in concern. "Sedation is problematic. The Tinbonk's unique biology makes most conventional sedatives ineffective or unpredictable." "What about a temporary neural disruption?" Trellix suggested. "A focused pulse that would temporarily disorient its vocal centers without causing permanent harm." Aiko nodded slowly. "That could work. We'd need to calibrate it precisely to the Tinbonk's neural patterns." "Do it," Maya ordered. "And I'll inform Aljar of our plans. We need his authorization for the transfer." 2 hours later, everything was in place. The new acoustic chamber had been positioned adjacent to the original isolation chamber, with a secure transfer corridor connecting them. Aiko had rigged a specialized neural disruptor designed to temporarily prevent the Tinbonk from vocalizing without causing lasting harm. As expected, Veshkor and several other Purity Council members were present to observe, their biosuits radiating skepticism through pulsing chest panels. Aljar stood with them, his neutral gray suit maintaining its even illumination. "This procedure has been approved," Aljar announced. "But at the first sign of danger, security will terminate the Tinbonk immediately. Is that understood, Ambassador?" Maya nodded grimly. "Understood, Coordinator. We're ready to begin." Aiko activated the neural disruptor, sending a carefully calibrated pulse into the isolation chamber. The Tinbonk shuddered visibly, then slumped slightly, its movements becoming sluggish though it remained conscious. "Neural disruption successful," Aiko reported. "Vocal centers temporarily suppressed. We have approximately 5 minutes before it recovers." "Initiating transfer," Siv announced, manipulating controls that caused a portion of the isolation field to form a tunnel connecting to the transfer corridor. The Tinbonk, sensing the change, moved cautiously toward the opening. Security personnel flanked the corridor, weapons ready. Maya held her breath as the creature stepped into the corridor, its crystalline protrusions catching the light and sending prismatic reflections across the walls. "Halfway there," Trellix narrated softly, monitoring the Tinbonk's neural patterns on a portable device. Disruption holding steady. The Tinbonk continued its slow progress, seemingly unconcerned by its surroundings. Just as it approached the entrance to the new acoustic chamber, a security officer's equipment emitted a sharp electronic tone, some kind of alert or malfunction. The Tinbonk froze, its head snapping toward the sound. Maya saw its chest expand. "No!" she shouted. "The disruption!" Before anyone could react, the Tinbonk emitted its devastating screech, more powerful than before. The sound seemed to physically impact Maya, driving her to her knees. Through watering eyes, she saw the others similarly affected. Aiko collapsed against her equipment. Trelx's translucent form convulsed with pulses of chaotic light. Even the Purity Council members staggered despite their protective suits. Worse. The sound continued, building in intensity. The walls of the transfer corridor began to vibrate visibly. Cracks appeared in the ceiling panels. Warning lights flashed as station systems responded to the structural stress. "Terminate! Terminate the specimen!" Veshkor's voice cut through the chaos, and Maya saw security personnel raising their weapons. "Wait!" she cried, struggling to her feet. "We can still—" The ceiling of the transfer corridor gave way, with a terrible rending sound. Metal and composite materials crashed down, narrowly missing the Tinbonk but striking several security officers. One of the falling panels shattered the control console for the new acoustic chamber, sending sparks flying. In the confusion, Maya saw Aiko and Siv exposed to falling debris. Without thinking, she lunged forward, shielding them with her body as a metal support beam crashed down. Pain flared across her back, but she maintained her protective position. "Everyone out!" Aljar commanded, his usually measured voice urgent through his translator. "The structural integrity is compromised." Security personnel began evacuating the injured. The Tinbonk, seemingly startled by its own effect, had stopped screeching and now stood amid the wreckage, its obsidian eyes reflecting the emergency lights. Maya, ignoring the pain in her back, turned to Trellix, who had somehow remained functioning. "Can you communicate with it? Keep it calm until we can get it into the chamber?" The psychic specialist hesitated, then nodded. "I can try a direct neural approach. My species has limited telepathic abilities that might bypass vocal communication." While Aiko and Siv were helped to safety, Trelx moved slowly toward the Tinbonk, their translucent body glowing with subtle patterns of light. The Tinbonk watched, head tilted in what seemed like curiosity. Trelx extended their long, delicate fingers, not touching the Tinbonk but hovering just above its crystalline protrusions. Both beings remained motionless for several long moments. "Remarkable," Trelx finally whispered. "It's screech. It's not aggression. It's fear response. The harmonics are a warning signal, evolved to discourage predators on its homeworld." "Then why did it screech just now?" Maya asked, still poised to intervene if necessary. The security alert startled it, Trelks explained, their voice taking on a rhythmic quality that Maya hadn't heard before. But more than that, it's been sensing our fear, our tension. The emotional environment here is saturated with threat responses from dozens of species. To the Tinbonk, it feels like being surrounded by predators about to attack. Understanding dawned on Maya. A feedback loop. We fear it. It senses our fear. It responds with a warning screech, which frightens us more. Precisely, Trelks confirmed. Its primary mode of perception includes sensitivity to neural patterns around it. The conference hall, filled with representatives, already suspicious and tense. It was the worst possible introduction. Veshkor, who had remained despite Aljar's evacuation order, stepped forward. This changes nothing. Whether the creature intends harm or not, it causes harm. It cannot remain on this station. Maya turned to face him. But it does change everything, Counselor. If the Tinbonk responds to perceived threats, then a different approach might eliminate the danger entirely. What do you propose? Aljar asked, his tone suggesting he was willing to consider alternatives. A specialized environment, Maya said, thinking quickly. Not just acoustic isolation, but emotional isolation as well. If Trelks is right, and the Tinbonk responds to the neural patterns around it, then we need to create a space free from fear and aggression. Trelks nodded slowly. It might work. My people have techniques for creating psychically neutral environments, spaces where emotional projections are dampened. This is absurd, Veshkor objected. You expect us to create a special sanctuary for a creature that has already injured our people and damaged our station? I expect you to consider all options before condemning a unique life form to death, Maya countered, her diplomat's restraint finally cracking. Isn't that what the Deathworld Alliance stands for? Understanding and respecting the survival adaptations of all species, no matter how dangerous they might seem? A tense silence followed her words. Then, surprisingly, Aljar spoke in support. The ambassador makes a valid point. Our founding principle was that no species should be judged solely by the danger it presents, but by its right to exist and adapt. The council votes in 1 hour, Veshkor reminded them coldly. I see nothing here that would change their minds. As he departed, Maya turned back to Trelks and the Tinbonk, which had remained remarkably calm during the exchange. Can you keep it stable while we prepare a new containment strategy? Trelks's glow pulsed softly. Yes. Now that I understand its communication method, I can maintain a calming influence. But we must work quickly. With the immediate crisis temporarily contained, Maya, Aiko, and Civ regrouped in a nearby conference room. Maya winced as a medical technician treated the bruising on her back from the falling debris, but her mind remained focused on their problem. The acoustic chamber is damaged beyond quick repair, Aiko reported, reviewing diagnostics on her tablet. And even if it weren't, we now know it wouldn't address the root cause of the Tinbonk's behavior. We need something that addresses both the physical and psychic aspects, Maya mused. Trelks mentioned creating a psychically neutral environment. But can that be done quickly enough? Civ's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. Perhaps we can adapt existing technology. The station's meditation chambers use psychic dampening fields to allow species with telepathic abilities to rest without interference from others. That could work for the psychic component, Aiko agreed. But we still need to contain the physical sound waves. Maya considered the problem. What about using the Tinbonk's own biology against the problem? Civ, you mentioned its crystalline structures act as tuning mechanisms. Could we create a harmonic that would neutralize its screech? The mineral biologist's exoskeleton shifted in what Maya had come to recognize as excitement. A counter-frequency! Yes, it's possible. If we can generate the exact inverse of its screech pattern, the waves would cancel each other out. I'd need a complete recording of the screech at full intensity, Aiko pointed out. which would mean triggering it again. Not necessarily, Maya countered. Trelks seems to be communicating with it on some level. Perhaps they can help the Tinbonk vocalize in a controlled way, at lower intensity, enough for you to analyze the pattern. With a plan forming, they rejoined Trellix and the Tinbonk, still in the damaged transfer corridor, but now surrounded by a makeshift barrier erected by station security. Trellix appeared to be in a trance-like state, their translucent body flowing with rhythmic patterns of light that the Tinbonk seemed to watch with fascination. "Trelx," Maya called softly, not wanting to disrupt whatever communication was occurring. "We need your help." The psychic specialist acknowledged her, without breaking their connection to the Tinbonk. "It understands more than we realized, not in terms of language, but in patterns of intention and emotion. Can you help it vocalize at a low intensity? We need to record its screech pattern to create a neutralizing harmonic." Trelks considered this. "Perhaps. It seems willing to cooperate now that it no longer perceives us as threats. But we must maintain a calm, emotional environment. Any spike in fear or aggression could trigger a full defensive response." Maya nodded to Aiko, who began setting up her recording equipment at a safe distance. "We're ready whenever you are." With delicate movements, Trellix guided the Tinbonk through a series of communication exercises. The creature responded with soft vocalizations, gradually increasing in complexity. None approached the devastating screech from earlier, but Aiko's instruments captured enough of the harmonic structure to begin analyzing the pattern. "I think I have it," Aiko announced after several minutes. "The fundamental frequency is unlike anything I've encountered before. It exists in multiple dimensions of sound simultaneously." "Can you create a counter-harmonic?" Maya asked anxiously, aware that time was running short before the council's vote. Aiko nodded, her fingers flying over her equipment. "Working on it now, but generating it will require specialized equipment. Standard speakers won't be able to produce these complex waveforms." "What about using the Tinbonk's own crystalline structures as a model?" Siv suggested. "If we could synthesize similar formations, they might be able to generate the necessary counter-frequencies." "That would take too long," Maya objected, checking the time. "The council votes in less than 30 minutes. Trelks, still maintaining their connection with the Tinbonk, spoke up. "There may be another approach. On my world, we use crystal resonators for deep meditation, devices that produce harmonic frequencies that calm the mind. They're not unlike the Tinbonk's structures in principle." "Do you have one with you?" Maya asked hopefully. "Better," Trelks replied. "There's a meditation chamber on this level of the station, equipped with a full array of resonators. If we could bring the Tinbonk there and recalibrate the resonators to produce the counter-harmonic." It was a desperate plan, but they had no alternatives. With Aljar's reluctant approval, they carefully guided the Tinbonk through the station corridors toward the meditation chamber, Trellix maintaining their calming influence the entire way. Security personnel created a perimeter, evacuating all non-essential personnel from their path. The meditation chamber was a circular room with a domed ceiling, its walls lined with crystal formations, not unlike those protruding from the Tinbonk's body. The center contained a shallow pool of luminescent liquid that emitted a soft, ambient glow. "The resonators are controlled from here," Trelks explained, indicating a console near the entrance. "They can be tuned to produce specific frequency patterns that influence neural activity." Aiko immediately set to work, uploading her counter-harmonic calculations to the system. "This is designed for meditation, not acoustic cancellation. I'll need to override some safety protocols." "Do whatever is necessary," Maya urged. "We're almost out of time." As Aiko worked, Maya received an urgent communication. Admiral Harrison's holographic image appeared, his expression grave. "Ambassador, the situation has deteriorated. Alliance vessels have taken up offensive positions near Proxima Colony. Our fleet is moving to intercept." Maya felt her heart sink. "Admiral, please, We're close to a solution here. Tell our fleet to stand down. It's out of my hands now, Harrison replied. The military council has taken direct control of the operation. They believe the Alliance is using this incident as a pretext for aggression they've been planning for months. Or maybe they're reacting to our fleet movements, Maya countered. This is becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. Admiral, just resolve the situation with the tin bunk, Harrison ordered. One way or another. Harrison out. The communication ended abruptly, leaving Maya with a deepening sense of dread. What had begun as a diplomatic mission now threatened to spiral into open conflict. Ambassador, Aiko called, breaking into her thoughts. The system is ready. I've programmed the resonators to generate the counter-harmonic pattern, but there's no way to test it without the tin bonk actually producing its screech. Which means we need to deliberately trigger the very behavior we've been trying to prevent, Maya concluded grimly. Not necessarily, Trelks interjected. The tin bonk seems to understand that we're trying to help. I believe I can guide it to produce a controlled vocalization, enough to test the system without causing another incident. Before they could implement this plan, the chamber door slid open. Veshkor entered, followed by several other Purity Council members and Aljar. The council has convened early, Aljar announced. They will vote in 5 minutes. Veshkor insisted on a final assessment of your containment solution. The Purity Councilor's chest panel pulsed with skepticism. You believe this meditation chamber can neutralize the creature's dangerous capabilities. This seems more like desperate improvisation than sound science. It's both, Maya admitted candidly. But sometimes the best solutions come from necessity. We've identified the problem. The tin bonk's screech is a defensive response to perceived threats, and developed a countermeasure based on harmonic cancellation. Theory, Veshkor dismissed. You have no proof this will work. Then let us demonstrate, Maya challenged. With your permission, we'll conduct a controlled test. After a moment's hesitation, Aljar nodded. Proceed, but at the first sign of danger, security will act. Maya turned to Trelks, who still maintained their connection with the tin bonk. Are you ready? The psychic specialist's translucent form pulsed with determined light. Yes. I will guide it to produce a mild vocalization. Aiko, be prepared to activate the counter-harmonic immediately. Tension filled the chamber as Trelix communicated with the tin bonk through patterns of light and subtle neural projections. The creature responded, its crystalline protrusions beginning to glow with inner light. Its chest expanded slowly. Now, Trelix whispered. The tin bonk emitted a vocalization. Not the full, devastating screech, but a version of it at reduced intensity. Even so, Maya felt the disorienting effect begin to take hold, her vision blurring slightly. Activating counter-harmonic, Aiko called, executing the program. The crystal resonators around the chamber came to life, emitting a complex pattern of sounds and vibrations that seemed to weave around the tin bonk's vocalization. For a moment, the two sound patterns clashed discordantly, creating a nauseating effect that made Maya sway on her feet. Then, remarkably, the sounds began to align, canceling each other in places, reinforcing in others, creating a new harmony that was neither pleasant nor unpleasant, but simply neutral. The disorienting effect faded. The tin bonk continued its vocalization, seemingly encouraged by the response from the resonators. Its crystalline structures glowed brightly, pulsing in rhythm with the chamber's resonators. To Maya's amazement, the combined effect created patterns of light and sound that were almost beautiful, like some alien form of music. Trelx's translucent body flowed with similar patterns, creating a visual bridge between the tin bonk and the resonators. It's working! The harmonic cancellation is effective, and more. The tin bonk is adapting its vocalization to work with the counter-harmonic, rather than against it. Even Veshkor seemed impressed, his chest panel pulsing with colors Maya hadn't seen from him before, perhaps curiosity or reluctant appreciation. This is not merely neutralizing its capability, Civ observed, mandibles clicking excitedly. It's transforming it into something new, communication rather than defense. As the demonstration continued, the tin bonk's vocalization gradually shifted from its harsh defensive screech to something more melodic, still complex but no longer disorienting or harmful. The creature moved to the center of the chamber, above the luminescent pool, where the acoustics seemed to enhance the harmonic integration. "It's learning," Aiko whispered in awe, "adapting its own biological capability to this new environment." Maya turned to Veshkor and Aljar. "You see, the Tinbonk isn't a weapon. It's a highly adaptable life form that responds to its surroundings. In an environment of fear and tension, it produced a defensive screech. Here, in harmony with the resonators, it creates music." Aljar stepped forward, his neutral gray suit reflecting the patterns of light from the Tinbonk and the resonators. "This is unexpected. The creature shows greater intelligence and adaptability than we anticipated." "Intelligence takes many forms," Maya pointed out. "The Tinbonk doesn't think like us, but it perceives and responds to its environment in sophisticated ways." Veshkor remained silent for a long moment, his chest panel cycling through a series of colors as if processing conflicting emotions. Finally, he spoke. "I must report this development to the Council. Their vote may be reconsidered in light of this demonstration." As he departed with his fellow council members, Maya felt a surge of hope. They had found not just a way to neutralize the danger, but potentially a new form of interspecies communication. "We should inform Earth about this development," Aiko suggested, "especially given the military situation." Maya nodded, moving to a communication console while Trelks, Civ, and Aiko continued monitoring the Tinbonk's interaction with the resonators. She established a secure channel to Admiral Harrison, praying she wasn't too late to prevent a military confrontation. Harrison's holographic image appeared, his expression tense. "Ambassador, what's your status?" "We've found a solution," Maya reported quickly. "The Tinbonk's screech can be neutralized using harmonic cancellation. More importantly, we've discovered it's not a weapon, but a communication method, one that becomes dangerous only in response to perceived threats." Harrison's expression shifted subtly. "And the Alliance? Have they accepted this explanation?" "The Purity Council is reconsidering their vote," Maya confirmed. Veshkor himself seemed impressed by the demonstration. "This could be a breakthrough in our understanding of the Alliance species as well." "That's good news," Harrison admitted, though something in his tone made Maya suspicious. "Admiral, what's happening with our fleet? Have you ordered them to stand down?" Harrison hesitated. "The situation is complex. Ambassador, intelligence suggests the Alliance fleet movements weren't in response to the Tinbonk incident at all. They've been planning this maneuver for months." Maya felt a chill. "Or perhaps they detected our own preparations and responded accordingly. This cycle of suspicion and countermoves is exactly what diplomatic missions like mine are trying to prevent." "Perhaps," Harrison conceded. "I'll relay your success to the Military Council. With luck, this development will give both sides a reason to de-escalate." After ending the communication, Maya rejoined her team, who had continued working with the Tinbonk. The creature had settled into a state that Trelks described as harmonious meditation. Its vocalizations synchronized perfectly with the chamber's resonators. "It's remarkable," Civ commented, their exoskeleton clicking softly as they moved around the chamber, taking readings. "The crystalline structures are actually reconfiguring themselves to better integrate with the resonator frequencies." "Adaptation at the cellular level?" Aiko marveled. "The possibilities for acoustic research are extraordinary." Trelks, who had maintained their connection with the Tinbonk throughout, finally stepped back, their translucent form dimming slightly, as if fatigued. "It no longer requires my guidance. It has established its own relationship with the resonators. What happens now? Maya asked. We can't keep it in this meditation chamber permanently. Actually, we might be able to create a modified environment based on the same principles, Aiko suggested. A specialized habitat that incorporates resonators calibrated to the Tinbonk's unique frequency patterns. Before they could discuss this further, Aljar returned, his manner more formal than before. Ambassador Trent, the Purity Council has reached a decision. Maya braced herself. And? They have voted to allow the Tinbonk to remain on Vox Ultima Station, under specific containment protocols based on your team's research, Aljar announced. Furthermore, they have authorized the creation of an interspecies research group to study its communication methods. Relief flooded through Maya. That's wonderful news, Coordinator. There are conditions, Aljar continued. Earth must provide full documentation on the Tinbonk's biology and behavior, everything you know about it. And you must acknowledge the oversight authority of the Purity Council in all matters relating to its containment. Those terms are reasonable, Maya agreed readily. Earth will comply. There is one more thing, Aljar added. The Council wishes to know why Earth chose this particular life form as a diplomatic gift. Given the unexpected consequences, they question whether there was strategic intent behind the selection. Maya considered her response carefully. Admiral Harrison's earlier comments about demonstrating Earth's understanding of survival had taken on a more ominous meaning in light of the military tensions. Had Earth deliberately chosen the Tinbonk knowing its disruptive potential? Was she an unwitting pawn in some geopolitical gambit? The Tinbonk was chosen because it represents qualities our world share, she said finally. Adaptability, resilience, the ability to survive in harsh environments. We believed these shared values would form a bridge between our civilizations. Aljar's face mask revealed nothing of his thoughts, but after a moment, he nodded. A diplomatic answer. Ambassador. The Council accepts it, for now. In the days that followed, Maya worked with her team to establish a permanent habitat for the Tinbonk, incorporating the resonator technology that had proven so effective. The military tension between Earth and the Alliance gradually de-escalated as both sides withdrew their forces from the Proxima sector. Citing routine exercises completed, a joint research team was formed, with specialists from both Earth and the Alliance studying the Tinbonk's unique communication abilities and developing new theories about interspecies perception. Even Veshkor occasionally visited the habitat, his initial hostility gradually giving way to scientific curiosity. On her final day on Vox Ultima Station, before returning to Earth, Maya stood before the Tinbonk's habitat, watching the creature interact with an array of crystalline resonators that had been installed throughout its environment. Its movements had a grace that seemed almost choreographed, its vocalizations now a complex symphony of harmonics that produced no disorientation, but rather a strange sense of peace. Trelks joined her, their translucent form glowing softly with internal light. It has adapted remarkably well. In some ways, it seems more at home here than it ever was on Earth. Perhaps it was always meant to be a bridge between our worlds, Maya mused. Just not in the way anyone expected. The screaming has stopped, Trelks observed, but the communication continues. We are only beginning to understand what it's saying. Maya nodded thoughtfully. That's true of all of us, isn't it? We make sounds. We build civilizations. We reach out to the stars, all in an attempt to say, we are here. We exist. We matter. A profound observation. Ambassador. Trelks's voice carried a hint of amusement. Perhaps you should consider a career in interspecies psychology when your diplomatic duties end. I think I've had enough excitement for one lifetime, Maya laughed. Though I admit, I'll miss the Tinbonk. It's strange how attached one can become to a creature that nearly started an interstellar war. As if hearing its name, The Tinbonk paused in its movements, turning its obsidian eyes toward Maya. For a moment, she felt a connection that transcended the barrier between them. Not telepathy like Trelx's abilities, but something more fundamental. A recognition between two living beings who had faced danger together and emerged changed. The Tinbonk emitted a soft vocalization, different from any Maya had heard before. The crystalline resonators throughout the habitat responded, creating a harmonic pattern that seemed to envelop her in a sensation of gratitude, farewell. The exact meaning was impossible to translate, but the emotional resonance was unmistakable. "I think it's saying goodbye," Trelx confirmed softly. Maya placed her hand against the transparent barrier. "Goodbye, Tinbonk. Keep singing your song. Someone will always be listening." As she turned to leave, Maya reflected on how differently things might have ended. A diplomatic gesture gone wrong. A screech of fear misinterpreted as aggression. Suspicion spiraling toward conflict. It was a pattern as old as life itself. Yet, somehow, they had broken the cycle, found understanding where there might have been only fear. The screaming had stopped. The conversation had just begun.